Right, good morning, and I've been working on terrain recently, but what I have done is completed the Spanish brigade for black powder, and glad to see the back of it. As normal, I think you do tend to run out of steam when it comes to projects. It's 4 battalions, and I'll show you more in depth video, and I'll stick it on the end of this one hopefully. It's all pretty cold up here, so I'm not going to spend too much time up here. Football's on World Cup wise, so I might have to pop indoors and see what's on. But this week, after the Spanish, I've been painting terrain, or more to the point, buildings. And look at this, look. Check that out. So these are the two, these are for my 20mm rapid fire Eastern Front collection. And these buildings were by, or are by, Grubby Tanks. Fairly crude, one-piece castings, weren't overly expensive, but they're, let's see, I'll get this one better. They're just wrecked cottages, houses. 2 of those. From Selwig are 2 rather more detailed buildings. I think I might have shown you these before. Can't remember who these are by, which is a bit of a shame, because I wouldn't mind getting a few more. So I've got one of those, and another one. Lid's come off, and as usual I don't paint the inside because I'm a bit lazy. As long as they look good on the outside, who's to know? So there's that one. You can see the difference between the 2, but variation, which I don't mind. And I've got this as well, which is quite nice. Again, this is from the company, I can't remember who it's by, who made them, but I'm pleased with that one. And I've got a green theme going on with this village, town. So that's quite nice. In the post the other day, I picked up just 2 buildings for my 28mm ACW collection. And these are from Hovels, and they are nice thick resin. So it's a barn there, and just a small cabin with a pelt on the side. I'm not going to overly populate the American Civil War battlefields with buildings. I think there are, towns weren't that much fought over, and so these are just going to be standalone pieces. But it was nice. It was nice to get away from the MDF, I must admit, and get something a bit more substantial. And with that, what I did realise, I haven't got any of these. Again from Hovels. Fairly substantial breastwork, and I'm going to get a few corner pieces. Might put those on the Christmas list. Quality wise, there's a few blowholes, but nothing that's not curable. Have a look at that chimney breast there. It's not peppered, but there's a few there you can see. Which need a bit of filling. Well, that's that. And once these buildings are completed, I'm on to the exciting next project, which is 6 limber horses. Can't wait. Done as dishwater they are, but they've got to be done because it's nice to see limbers on the table. Right, now how did I do that? Put that back there. So that's it. I'm thinking about streamlining my collections again. What I'll do, I'll put feelers out. I'm going to certainly get rid of my small 10mm Franco-Prussian war collection. too small for me. Way too small. And I'm glad I started them, just to scratch that itch. But the thought of painting base upon base upon base is not very nice. In fact, where are they? You remember those. And there's done quite a few bases. There's 10 to a base. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 21 bases, which equates to 7 battalions or regiments. And there's a lot of unpainted stuff as well. So what I'll do is I'm hoping to get rid of those, swap those for some 28mm ACW stuff. But I'll put more details of that possibly on my Facebook page or do a separate video. And I'm toying with the idea of getting rid of my 28mm Spanish Civil War collection, purely because I don't play it. If it is bolt action, which is all geared up for, we play World War II. And it's a good quality collection. If anybody wants to know, wants to see it, I'll certainly send videos over. I think there's a couple of videos I've made on the subject. Phone call. Hang on a sec. That was the wife on the phone. It just seems every time I get a day off or something, it's always something I need to do. I think us men go through that a bit, don't we? Anyway, back to the possible swapping of my Spanish Civil War collection. I've enjoyed playing the games using the collection. But as I said, it's not being used. And I am enthusing about the ACW, so I will put it up for swaps. Again, that the ACW, if I do what I intend to do, would have to be painted. I don't want to sit down and start building up units from scratch and painting them. I haven't got enough time really. I used to have enough time, but not anymore. But more details of that later. I think the ACW collections at the moment, the armies stand at, I think it's 22 regiments for Union and 12 or 14 for Confederates. I'd like to expand on the Confederates to bring up the strength. And I also like to do some more of the ancillary units like mobile forges, which I saw a great video the other day by Liberator 240 with his new Napoleonic collection. I'd just like to have a chance to build up the wagons and all that sort of thing, just to give the collections a bit more depth, and also the Confederate cavalry I'd like to expand. I'd like to expand everything really. And they're obviously the ACW a lot easier to paint than Napoleonics, and I think I've got enough Napoleonics. 1 or 2 units I can do, and that gets me thinking about long-term projects, what to do next year. I'd like to do more terrain for my own personal gaming space here. I'd like to do some more game boards, and I've got the boards already cut. It's one of those things about the hobby. I find I don't know if it's something you agree with or not, but if I'm not painting figures, I'm not advancing. If I explain that correctly, the terrain, the buildings are all part of this hobby. But if I'm not painting figures, it feels like I'm painting figures. To me, is what this hobby is all about, and it's so the terrain and does come second. But once now I've got my own space, I need to start knuckling down and doing a few more boards. I looked with enthusiasm at the likes of Mark Freeth's collection from the Holiday Centre. It's wonderful layouts, and when he posts up videos, I find myself looking more at the boards and the figures, and it gives that whole picture, doesn't it? It's like I said to Ken, the Yorkshire Gamer, when you first walk into, or when I first walked into Peter Gilder's Holiday Centre up in Scarborough, it's breathtaking, and it's what I'd like to create in this cabin. Obviously not to the same size, but hopefully one day to the same standard. Yes, but it's not that figure painting. It's something I'll get used to, I suppose. We'll get used to. Now, video-wise, enjoying everybody's videos out there at the moment. Can I say congratulations to Martin, Seventh Son, great channel, and go and check that out. I'm sure you have done. But I'm thoroughly enjoying watching his work. He passed 6,000 subs the other day, so big hats off for that, Martin. And it's good quality throughout. I think that's about it. Yeah, it's all football in my head at the moment. Good game yesterday, but not into it like I should be. I'll do a slight deviation off my channel subject, which is wargaming. But to me, I think Euro 96 was absolutely fantastic, and maybe it was my youth which gave me the enthusiasm there. But Italian 90 was good. Just following the national team has fallen away a little bit. It's probably an age thing, and the realisation we are probably not as good as we should be. And but I just remember Shearer knocking those goals in. Fantastic time. Anyway, I can go on and on about this. I can only think of certain parts of tournaments until they get to a very dark place, which include penalty shootouts. So hopefully that won't be an issue in this tournament. But I'm not into it at the moment. But I'm sure once I start watching more games, hopefully things will change. All right, come on England and Wales. Thanks for watching. All right, let's turn this off. Okay, so this is the Spanish Infantry Brigade, and I'm going from the left over here. The light on the subject. This is the combined Grenadier Fusilier Battalion, and this is the 1st Battalion of the regiment. Figures by Perry. Once cleaned up, they do look very, very nice. They're very nice sculpts of paint, nice crisp detail on those, nice proportion figures, and lots of variations, and most enjoyable. Moving along, behind we have the 2nd Battalion of the regiment, and this time all Fusiliers, including quite a few figures in part civilian clothing, made up of a few packs, and again 32 figures in 4 companies. Flags by Ian at Flags of War, to me the best. In front there we have the artillery, the recently finished militia at the back there in the brown and red. Figures by Eagle Figures. They seem to fit in quite nicely with the Perrys. They're a bit more static. I'm glad I bought them just to see what they were like. And they do make a nice change of colour. The brown colour makes a nice change with the white. At the back there we've got the 3rd Battalion of the regiment, again made up with civilian clothing and painted on a few patches. And a Perry command stand just there. So four battalions to the brigade. Will I add to it? I'm sure one day I'll probably add to it, but as I said previously, I've got quite a few Napoleonics now. It was just collecting this brigade was just to give it more variation in our peninsular battles. We've got British and Portuguese, but no Spaniards. Dons. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching.